Okay, we're back. Spent some time away finding myself. I didn't get news from those underage fans. That's not why I've been away. They were all mentally ill anyway, so it didn't really count, did it? I'm being a bit facetious. I'm not pro Jared, I'm T in movies, and we're back. We have put your phone on silent. You're in a theatre.
Okay, go.
You're in a theatre of the mind. Bear in mind, you are likely to hear all kinds of sounds ranging from doors, a rabbit who's foolishly about 5 feet behind the camera and the microphone. Anyway, we're back with a video that no one asked for, and I don't really want to do, but I lost the script for my Love Island one, so this is what you get. So a while back, I started watching a new show because I had a Now TV pass. Can you guess why? That's right, it was for the UK version of the hit American TV show Impractical Jokers.
Yeah, you can tell she's scared.
Oh, the stress on her face. She's putting stuff on her plate.
So sorry. I apologise. I just totally thought this was a buffet. Really.
The American remake of The Inbetweeners is often brought up as an example of great comedic differences between us Brits and the Yanks. If you thought black holes were exclusive to physics, this show will convince you that you can also have black holes in chemistry. The show is called The Good Doctor. It stars Freddie Highmore from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and that TV show that was based on that Vince Vaughn movie. Freddie plays an autistic surgeon with savant syndrome. It tries very hard to set itself apart from different medical TV shows, and the main way it does this is with its progressive tone. Having an autistic main character isn't really anything new. People love The Big Bang Theory and people thought they loved Sherlock. The main way The Good Doctor differentiates itself from these shows is the way the main character's condition affects the way he communicates with those around him. And that creates a more thought-provoking story than, "Hey Penny, that's my chair." To be honest, the show's handling of its progressive themes aren't entirely awful. One particularly good episode dealt with the unjust nature of the for-profit American healthcare system.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
It features an older man of colour who is denied a kidney transplant because he had one glass of champagne at his daughter's graduation. And despite doing the whole medical show brainstorming segment where they write stuff on a big piece of glass and sound clever, none of it works. He still falls victim to the institutional racism of the American healthcare system and leaves the hospital at the bottom of the transplant list. The subplot to this episode involves an old rich white man who is a big donor to the hospital. He has a ruddy great hole in his cheek, and even though the doctor can see that he's still smoking and even lights up a cigar on the way out of the hospital, the small vices don't matter where money is concerned. I've already finished me tea. Might have to make another one where
We can just
pause.
pretend.
No. The show doesn't explicitly call attention to the relationship between these two plots in a way that I imagine a lesser show would have. In fact, you can kind of imagine the sequence of events in a worse show, where they bust into the head honcho's office, all the fat cats sitting around the table, and they start banging and they say he's just a person. And I mean, that kind of does happen in the episode, but they get shot down. Although a huge amount of emotional emphasis is put onto the old man's story, he's one of millions of Americans who can't just buy themselves better. And that's where the show really shines. As for the rest of the content, however, and bear in mind I'm only 7 to 8 episodes in, it's heavily bogged down by the structure set in place by the showrunner. You wouldn't be surprised to learn that both The Good Doctor and House share the same showrunner. That man is David Shaw. And whether he felt so comfortable with the structure that he himself kind of helped create with House, that he felt okay just rewriting House but with a more overtly autistic protagonist, or whether he really doesn't know how to write anything else is beyond me. The show's take on what I like to call the irony episode, which is where a singer will come in requiring an operation on their vocal cords. Or someone who's a professional at looking at things will need, like, his eyes have fallen out. But in The Good Doctor's version of that is an episode about a sex worker. In a show like House, for example, this would have involved, or perhaps does involve, because there are a lot of episodes of House and I don't want to go back through them all trying to find this, House making jokes about sex and being all hubba hubba when he sees her, like, you know, squeezing a boob or something when she's on a table doing an operation. And it would have all been fine at the end because he was right and he's cynical and he's a grumpy man, but he's cool and clever, so everyone likes him and he gets away with being very problematic. House is cancelled. The Good Doctor goes a more progressive route with this. There's still jokes about porn, but they're framed as immature instead of aspirational. But what they start out thinking is a cyst turns out to be a tumour on a nerve ending near her vagina. So if they take it out, she will lose feeling. There are plenty of directions you can go if you want to do an irony episode about porn. They could go in the same direction they would with, say, a model, and again I believe this happened in House, where an operation could lead to a scar somewhere, and because of society's expectations of beauty, that would effectively ruin their career as a model or an adult entertainer. Big old porn star. Instead, they go with the idea that losing feeling in her vagina would end her career in porn. Like, she can still act in porn. The female orgasm is a myth. Right, Alex?
Yeah, that's right.
But besides the personal satisfaction, that may or may not be a reason someone would go into the adult entertainment industry, I don't know, she hasn't lost anything that would stop her from doing porn. So the conceit of the irony episode in trying to make it very woke and current, which is admirable, is kind of undermined by the fact they didn't go far enough with it. Cut out a vagina, the different parts of a vagina where they don't know any. As if that wasn't weird enough, Claire, who's another resident at the hospital, keeps asking if there's someone she'd like to call, like her family or parents. She's clearly visibly uncomfortable at this idea. But because the show is so generic in its structure, you know there's going to be an arc where her and her parents start the episode at odds with each other, and towards the end they both understand each other's points of view, as if there's a compromise in the middle somewhere. And I mean, there isn't. You should just accept that she's doing porn, that she doesn't have to be like, oh, well, maybe it can be embarrassing for her. Fuck off.
Ah, monkey on the car.
Monkey on the car. Oh.
Fuck off.
Old white people. What are you doing? You're censoring me. You're trying to stop me. I'm being censored. Where's my comedy special? Dave Chappelle. Trigger warning. Oh, they're trying to cancel me. How much money did he make from every Netflix special that's called Triggered or Trigger Warnings or Cancelled? And as you expect, the episode ends with the girl saying, "Can you call my parents' phone, please? I'd like to tell them that the vagina machine bronked." Just talking about vaginas getting me all a bit hot and bothered.
Wow.
And while sometimes a familiar structure can be like a nice warm blanket wrapped around you saying, hey, come on in, there's no need to think critically or, you know, deviate from any known structures. You just enjoy it. It's telling you what to think and where it's going, come on. But while something like Lucifer, for example, is very structured, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not trying to prove a point other than, as many people expect, white Welshman and the devil. And Tom Ellis cheated on his wife with Miranda.
Cancelling. Booking boys.
The Mentalist is another example which stuck too rigidly to structure, and about from series 4 onwards it was just kind of limping to the finish line with sick all down his top like me on sports day. Sean even does his mentalist Lucifer powers sometimes. You see very Sherlock-esque examples of medical diagrams and terms popping up as if from nowhere, but they're utilised to a much better effect than they ever were in Sherlock, since it helps show the disconnect between what's going on inside the character's mind and how he often struggles to communicate even the simplest things to those around him. It's a respectful portrayal of quite a complex medical issue, And if autism gives you superpowers like these, then suck those goddamn vaccines right out of my bones, baby. I only wish that for all the steps forward the show takes with its subject matter and its characters, it was just a bit braver with the way it structures the episodes. It delivers such easily fragmented stories with quite plain examples of ethics and morality, with characters who you know from the start are going to fall to either side of this debate. And it doesn't have to be that way. Just write a good show, David Shaw. House was fine. A bit long. I didn't like the ending to House either.
I didn't.
Did you not see the end of House?
I've never watched.
Him and his boyfriend drive off. He fakes his death and then they just go biking because he's got cancer or something.
Why is he gonna? Is he gay?
No,
So it's not his boyfriend.
just
Just pals.
coding. So to the 4 people out there who enjoy my content, thanks for watching. I'm back. You'll love to see it. That's it for The Good Doctor. This was a script I wrote while Game of Thrones was still on TV, and I was halfway through that and still enjoying it. Do you remember that? That's when people enjoyed Game of Thrones. Look forward to more content soon. Like I said, my Love Island script's just gone. I mean, structure's important, and I've done episodes about superheroes and more superheroes, and then a review of us that was kind of a review. It's about time I did something that's kind of screenwriting-esque. Structures to do with that. I haven't said the word screenwriting once in this video.
Shit.
This is usually why I do multiple re-edits of my script. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
I'm laughing at Bunker.
Fucking boys.
That was funny for me.